There's some events in history that just sound, well, impossible, right? The Battle of Badr is absolutely one of them. It's the ultimate underdog story. A tiny, poorly equipped group facing a massive army that should have wiped them out in minutes. So how on earth did they do it? Let's get into this incredible moment.
In this verse from the Qur'an, it really sets the stage perfectly. Right from the get-go, the whole story is framed as a victory against impossible odds. It's seen as this deeply spiritual moment where the few somehow overcame the many.
So yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? How did they pull off what looks like a total miracle? Was it just sheer luck? A brilliant once-in-a-lifetime strategy? Or was it something else entirely? Well, let's break it down.
All right, so where did this all begin? You might be surprised to hear that one of history's most famous battles didn't start with some grand declaration of war. Nope, it all started with something much smaller. A very, very rich trade caravan. You have to understand, for the early Muslims, this was personal. I mean, really personal. They'd been forced out of their homes in Makkah, and all their property and money had been taken. So this raid wasn't just about grabbing loot. It was about trying to get back what they felt was rightfully theirs. It was a kind of economic justice. And we're not talking about just any old caravan. This thing was loaded. We're talking an immense fortune, 50,000 gold dinars. And the best part, it was only guarded by about 40 men. So you can see why it was a very tempting target. But Abu Sufyan, the guy leading the caravan, was no fool. He smelled trouble and sent a messenger racing back to Mecca for help. And this messenger, he knew how to put on a show. He rode into the city, cut up his own camel, tore his shirt, and just started screaming for help right in front of the Kaaba. It was pure theater, and it worked. The Quraysh were instantly fired up and ready for a fight.
And just like that, the whole situation explodes. What was supposed to be a simple raid on a caravan is now a full-blown military confrontation. You have two armies marching toward each other, this small group of Muslims on one side and the entire military power of Makkah on the other.
I mean, just look at these numbers. The difference is, it's staggering. You've got about 313 Muslims, and they have a grand total of 2 horses. 2! They're facing an army of 1,000 soldiers with 100 horsemen and 600 guys decked out in mail armor. On paper, this isn't a battle. It's a massacre waiting to happen. Okay, so here's where things could have gone very differently. Abu Sufyan, being the clever guy he was, managed to reroute the caravan to safety. He sent a message to the army saying, "Hey, we're good. You can all go home now." But the Quraysh commander, this guy, Abu Jahl, was notoriously arrogant. He refused. He said, "No way, we're marching to Badr, we're going to party for 3 days and show everyone how powerful we are." His pride made the battle absolutely inevitable. So now they're facing a battle they didn't even really plan for. Before everything kicked off, the Muslim leadership held this incredibly important meeting. And the decisions they made in that moment, focusing on both strategy and just keeping everyone's spirits up, turned out to be absolutely crucial.
So Prophet Muhammad checks in with his people. First, the Muhajirin, the ones who had left Makkah with him, and one of them, Al-Miqdad ibn Amr, stands up and gives this incredibly powerful speech, basically saying, "We are with you no matter what. Lead us to the ends of the earth and we will fight." Their loyalty was unshakable.
Then he turned to the Ansar, the helpers from Medina. Now, they had originally only promised to defend him inside their own city limits, so this was the big question. And their leader, Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, just shattered any doubt. His response was just as powerful, promising to follow him even into the sea. And with that, any doubt just vanished. They were one single unified force, ready for anything. But their strength wasn't just about morale. It was also in some seriously smart military tactics. One of the soldiers, Al-Hubab ibn Mundhir, came up with this plan. It's so simple, but absolutely genius. In the desert, water is everything. So he suggested they march ahead, take control of the water wells closest to the enemy, build a reservoir for themselves, and then destroy all the other wells. This gave them a massive strategic advantage before a single sword was even drawn. All right, the stage is set. Morale is through the roof. They've got a killer strategy. And on the 17th of Ramadan, in the second year after the Hijrah, the two armies finally meet and the battle begins. So how did it all go down? Well, it started in the classic Arab tradition, with individual duels between champions. The Muslim champions won, which was a huge psychological blow to the Quraysh right at the start. Then came the main attack. And just as the massive Quraysh army advanced, the sources say something extraordinary happened.
a moment of divine help that completely turned the tide and sent the Quraysh running.
And while all this is happening, the prophet is praying intensely. And you have to hear this prayer. It shows you just how high the stakes were. For him, this wasn't just about winning a battle. It was about the very survival of his entire community and their message to the world.
And according to the accounts, that prayer was answered in a dramatic way. He took a handful of dust, threw it towards the enemy line, and a sudden, violent sandstorm just kicks up out of nowhere, blowing right into the faces of the Quraysh. It created total chaos and confusion for them, and it was the decisive moment of the battle.
And in all that chaos, guess who goes down? The guy who forced this battle in the first place, the super arrogant commander, Abu Jahl. And get this, it wasn't some seasoned warrior who took him down. It was two young boys from the Ansar who were determined to defeat this man they saw as the ultimate enemy of their faith. His death was really the final nail in the coffin for the Quraysh.
And that was it. The fighting was over. The Quraysh were in a full-blown panic, running for their lives and leaving everything behind. The victory for the Muslims was absolute, and its impact would be felt immediately. Just look at these numbers. They are completely lopsided. Only 14 Muslims died. On the other side, the Quraysh lost 70 men, including many of their top leaders, and another 70 were captured. For an army that was outnumbered 3-1, this outcome was just unbelievable.
So what happened next? Well, the shockwaves were felt immediately. Makkah was in a state of shock and humiliation, while Medina was celebrating like never before. The win totally solidified the Muslim community, proving to everyone that they were a force to be reckoned with. And this last part is fascinating, the way they handled the prisoners. Instead of just ransom for gold, some could earn their freedom by teaching 10 children how to read and write. A ransom of knowledge. How amazing is that?
And that's really the key takeaway here, right? This battle was so much more than just a physical fight. For the Muslims, it was seen as a clear sign of divine approval. It cemented their place as a new power in the region and changed the course of history forever.
To this day, the Battle of Badr is remembered as that ultimate underdog story. It's a powerful example of how strategy, unity, and a whole lot of faith can achieve what seems completely impossible. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What is the true, lasting legacy when people combine smart thinking with unshakable belief to overcome the most incredible odds?